Well, hello again, fight fans, and welcome to another edition of the Speed Bag. Today, a little segment that I like to call Pay That Man His Money. Donald Cerrone did it again on Saturday night at UFC Fight Night 89 in Ottawa, and by it, I mean he put a thorough beat down on your boy Patrick Cote. And just to put that in perspective, what I'm really saying there is that former lightweight title challenger Donald Cerrone beat the holy crap out of former middleweight title challenger Patrick Cote. So yeah, that's impressive. After the fight, however, Cerrone expressed a little bit of dissatisfaction with the state of his current paycheck, and that's coming from the guy who has now won a record 17 fight night bonuses. Or, as Cerrone put it,
God, that all sounds nice. According to my pay, I don't mean to the UFC, but we'll see.
Now, according to Cowboy, he plans to speak to UFC President Dana White soon in order to figure that out, and figure it out he should. Because if there is anybody who the UFC should be compensating handsomely right now, it's Cowboy Cerrone, and not just because he's earned it, although, come on, you know he has. This is a guy who has been in the UFC, a shade over 5 years at this point, and in that time he's fought 21 times in 2 different weight classes. If you're a fight fan looking for good, exciting fights, Cowboy Cerrone is as close to a guarantee as you can possibly get. And he doesn't do the sloppy brawl, bonus chasing kind of fight either. I mean, he puts on good fights that are just legitimately good technical fights. He's a good sharp striker. He has good jiu-jitsu. He always brings it. He's everything we as fans claim to want from UFC fighters. And see, that's the other thing, is that he's also everything that UFC executives claim that they want from UFC fighters. He fights as often as he physically can, against whoever, at whatever weight, on extremely short notice, even when it's a terrible idea. Plus, he's made himself into a marketable character. He's the cowboy, man. He's even got his own special hat. If you're trying to make action figures of these guys at some point, Donald Cerrone just served it up for you on a silver platter. Even the overwhelming, boring sameness of the Reebok era cannot assimilate this man. And what does he get for that? Fined instead of rewarded. Still, despite being a bankable draw for the UFC for years now, Cerrone's last disclosed payout, $79,000 to show. And that was for a title fight against Rafael dos Anjos, who, even with the belt, let's be honest, is nowhere near the fan attraction that Cowboy Cerrone is. The point is, though, that the UFC should want to do everything in its power to make sure that Donald Cerrone never has to complain about his pay, not only because he has earned his bread, though again, he obviously has, but because it should want to incentivize other fighters to be more like him. This is what the UFC wants, right? Like exciting, good, technical fighters who never let you down. And yet, if a guy who has an unblemished record for years of doing exactly that isn't making serious money, why should other fighters even try? I mean, why shouldn't they play it safe, think about longevity, instead of trying to match a guy like Cowboy Cerrone's manic pace and night after night furious effort? What I'm saying is, UFC, it's in your best interest to make sure Donald Cerrone gets paid and to make sure all your other fighters see him getting paid. Because this Cowboy Cerrone, especially at the pace he's going, he's not going to last forever. You need someone to step up and be the new Cowboy Cerrone, and why would they want to if you don't take care of the one you have?